So I'm Brian Ludwig. I'm the Director of Supply Chain Optimization for Smith & Nephew. I'm leading the Supply Chain Optimization team, which is a new team that's been built in the last 4 months. And the goal of that team is to drive strategic opportunities within the organization, specifically or in partnering with Movemedical. Orthopedics and med device is a very unique space in general. You can't just bring in any solution. And what we were looking for was something that fit our business. And so when we looked out at the companies that were out there, we really found that Movemedical offered us something that, in the initial conversations was, something we weren't seeing, like competitive advantages that we could see, along that journey, like steps along the way. We didn't have total visibility to our inventory in the field. We didn't have connected solutions between commercial and operations, so it was very broken processes. It wasn't an end-to-end inventory management and customer-driven solution. So those were some of the challenges that we were facing, is how do we improve, service and logistics in this very unique space that we work in. I think it was a very unique time, right? Like we were all going through this massive change. When we started with Movemedical, it was pre-COVID, and so everything was blue sky, and the world just flipped on its head overnight, and we quickly formed a very close relationship and bond with the team in Move. Problems that would have shut us down, even sometimes when you're face to face, like the team was able to overcome those things and find unique ways to solve complex problems in an environment that no one was used to. Along the journey, I think the doorways that we opened up with Move, creating a single solution for our organization. Like that was our goal, was to have a single sales franchise solution. And when I say it is the backbone of our organization, it is the foundation that we're building everything off of. Our strategic advantage is having Move as a partner. It's a single sales operating system for operations and commercial now, and it runs not only in orthopedics but sports and wound and all of our franchises. And then we're looking to grow that, globally across our business. There's the opportunity to standardize across a complex network to drive efficiencies in the operations team. So what is a very tribal or was very tribal system is now becoming a very harmonious, one type of deal. And from a commercial standpoint, I think we're able to use insights from that team to deliver, more efficiently to our customers. Data-driven decisions that we're now making with Movemedical, insights that we'd never seen before in our business. We still have a ways to go, right? And there is a roadmap and a journey that we're taking. But I think we're creating tremendous value for, our customers, the lives of our sales reps, and our operations team. And that's what keeps us going every day, is to improve that. That's what makes Movemedical unique. That's what makes Move. Anytime I worked, I don't look at Bo as the CEO. I don't look at Josh or anyone in the room any differently. I think what I see is a culture of teamwork, collaboration, passion to solve complex problems. And they're great partners. I mean, whenever there's something difficult to solve, like I don't consider it a Move problem or a Smith & Nephew problem. It's our problem. And it's the collaboration that is going to continue, that has taken place and will continue to take place, that's going to set us apart in the future. Our short-term goals is to provide a standardized operating network with total asset visibility for our field operations and commercial teams, and also having a standardized, surgical offering. So that's short-term. We are going to deliver that over the next year across the U.S. within our network. I think what I'm most excited about with partnering with Movemedical is taking advantage of all the opportunity that's out there. I think there's challenges across supply chain and in business today, but what we have is a unique solution that offers us the capabilities to manage our business more effective and efficiently, data insights, or leverage that data to make more decisions around, cost to serve, patient match logistics. How can we offer a more, refined or streamed down version of our product to our customers to improve, operations, commercial, and at the end of the day, like the hospital and customer, and the opportunity to grow, in the U.S. and abroad with one solution that helps manage our organization. I think our goal is to, grow Move globally, so it is the solution for Smith & Nephew across the globe, and continuing to, to build upon that.
I'm David Bradley, been with Smith & Nephew for 18 years. I'm the Senior Director of Commercial Operations. So really my job, it's definitely progressed over the years with Movemedical. Started out as an analyst working with, the original request for proposal. And then really my job became expanded to go out and deploy Movemedical. So, getting all the servers set up, the interfaces, getting the transactions, the testing, the compliance, all those kind of things. So from an IT shop, it was me and a couple other team members that just, stood the application up from the ground. And so that role's been slowly transitioning. We've, expanded our team to a couple more guys. We've gone across the U.S. from our multiple divisions. So we started out with, like 1,300 users in orthopedics, expanded to another couple hundred for our biotissue, and then added about 900 between our sports med and ENT. And so, as growing that team, I've really been, developing those people under that team to where now, I've got a team in place that handles all the deployments. They're going in, doing all the releases, going through business requirements and that. And so now my role is really going out, figuring out how do I bring value. And, when there's people like Brian with our organization or other team members that have an idea, they need a solution to go out and enable that. That's really my role of figuring out, okay, let's work with Movemedical, understand what kind of team do we need, how would this work, what kind of value you could bring, help prioritize that, and figure out just how we, deliver that value around the world. From the beginning, the partnership's just grown, right? We started out, again, my team was pretty small. We had a number of people on the Movemedical team that really worked together day in, day out. It was just, long days, late nights, going through getting the system ready up for deployment. And that's just continued to grow. We've been expanding you guys' footprint within our organization to go out and say, hey, I can't go out and find a Movemedical architect or a Movemedical developer to hire on my side. I need you guys to help me, right? And so that's where it's, you guys have got the bench, the talent to go out and say, join up with us. It's not me just going out and saying, hey, I need you to go do that. I need you to go do that. It's like, well, what do we need to do, right? And so, sitting down, partnering with each other, getting in a room, try to hammer those problems out when we're able to do that. And then really, the value that Movemedical brings is, other than the swag that someone's got on their shirt, you really don't know who's who, right? You get in and it's, Movemedical knows our business. They understand kits, they understand trays, they understand how to source things right. They understand what we're sourcing. And in some instances, especially for my side on the IT, they know it better than I do. So it's really leaning on them to go out and say, hey, you guys have, it's like a consultant, a partner, a software vendor, all kind of wrapped up into one to be able to go out and do this with such a small team on my side. The business is growing, but we've got a small group that supports, keeps the lights on, and that's why we have to have Movemedical at the table with us to just be able to say, this is how we're going to be able to grow this with such, with such a small footprint. I'd say our biggest struggle during the implementation wasn't so much, or definitely was not Movemedical, but it was the circumstances around that deployment, right? As soon as we signed our contract, a month later we go into COVID. Everybody gets shut down, everyone's scared to leave home. And so it's like, okay, now how do we go out and deliver an app that's this complex, this much change management, and we never get to see people face to face? It's the first time our corporation had ever done anything like that, to not be on site, to walk users through it. Earlier in my career, I would install the app for the reps as they came into town and in the office, and now we're not going to do that. So what do we do in there? And that's where, we struggled, for a number of months of making sure, or seeing that our users weren't using the system correctly. We built a system that could do a lot of things, but people were trying to fit their old processes into it because honestly, we weren't able to do a good job of telling them how they should use it. So that's where, we realized we had a major gap and we weren't 100% sure how to fix that gap. So we went out, sat down with Move, said, hey, we need some help understanding what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. You guys know the system better. You guys know about what we're trying to accomplish. How can we go out and measure that? Because until we could sit down and say, hey, you're not using it based on these kind of factors, we're not going to be able to get that system adoption, that change management done properly. We got a number of the analysts with Movemedical, sat down, got in a room, said, hey, what can we start tracking? And a number of things, it was you guys coming up with ideas for, hey, let's go out, let's look at loaner leakage. Hey, here's some metrics on this is clean case, making sure the reps scheduled in time and nobody has to go in and touch it, those kind of things. And so, that focus on analytics, taking that data, turning in information. I mean, we honestly go and we just stack rank our offices, say, you're doing really good, you're not. You don't have an excuse because now you tell me it's really hard and complicated, but why is your peer over here using it 2 to 3 times better? And without that kind of data, you remove the anecdote from from the situation of it's not the app, maybe it's us, maybe we didn't train right, maybe we need to go out and do these things. Maybe there's plenty of places we could optimize, but without that data, it's impossible to just go out and say this you're using it right. These are the things you need to do. And if people start swaying from that, hey, we need to go out and we need to focus because there's so many areas, so many users, we can't be with all of them. So how do we use that data to be able to correct those? So really with the KPIs, it's a matter of making sure people, again, are using the system the right way. And so we can go out and track that just from the beginning of, there's smart people that can sit down and say, hey, first off, we need a kit standard. All right, we've gone on and created that, this, our people know our business well enough to know this is what needs to go in these kind of surgeries, these kind of trays. All right, once you've got that, how close are you, that number are you with all your different offices? And again, we go out and say, hey, you need to be at 90+% to the standard. If not, we need to understand why. You need to go out and create new catalogs, but you got to get to the standard because now that we're all starting to talk the same language, we can go out and say, now we can get clean case requirements because we have a good catalog. We've built out our tree, and then that just kind of funnels down into okay, who's putting their stuff in right? We're getting a good signal. Now we're doing the man. Now who's getting their stuff to us back on time? Who's going out and putting their usage on their case at the same day to make sure that we're getting a PO so we can recognize that revenue as soon as possible. And without those KPIs, we can't do that. So it's really helping us build out our new operating model of how we want the U.S. to work because we've got it deployed across the U.S. and we want to go out and use this data to make sure people are using it the right way. Once we've got that model in tune, the goal is, take it and expand, right? I mean, so we get the U.S. dialed in, it's our major market. We go to the next market. We start going around to all of our established markets around the world. We roll out the framework that, we've taken the time to build together as partners to go out and say, this is how we want to run our business. I think when you boil it all down, it just comes down to that partnership, right? Movemedical is our partner going forward to how we're going to change the way we do our business, from everything from the ground up, from our reps putting in cases to the demand to changing the way people operate day to day, going out, knowing our business, helping us figure out what we need to do to drive change, help make patients' life better and make our employees' life better, get people home sooner so they can enjoy their time with their family, do whatever hobbies they're involved in. And it's an exciting time, right? I mean, we've got so much trust built up between Movemedical and Smith & Nephew now. We started small. We had to prove out ourselves to say, hey, we're going to go out and we are going to fundamentally change the largest sector of our business. You're going to put all your faith and money in this system. It's going to flow through this system. Now, can we do that long term? Can we sustain it? Can we make sure that we don't have major outages? Can we make sure that we don't have audit issues? And slowly building that trust out to where now we're at a place to where we really can run as far as we want. And that's where, without Movemedical, we're not going to have those resources to be able to do that. We've got to go out, we've got to get those people, we've got to figure out what we want to do because right now the opportunities are endless. We've got more demand for driving value through Movemedical than we've ever been able to, just contemplate, right? I sit down with a roadmap slide and it scares me how much we need to do. And the only way we're going to get that done is by, sitting at a table together, bringing Movemedical together, bringing Smith and Nephew together, sitting down saying, what do we want to attack? How are we going to go after it? And just being able to go out and deliver that. And that's all through the partnership and trust that we've built over the last 3 years together.
My name is John Kelty. I'm the Director of Business Solutions at Gore within our Sales Operations organization, focused in the U.S. region. As a sales operations team, we're supporting our field sales associates, our reps in the field. There's about 450 in the U.S. And we are a cardiovascular company primarily, which means those 450 associates are in the operating room every day of the year, in fact. We know that for a fact, thanks to Movemedical. And some of the most complex cardiovascular procedures in the world, we are supporting with our devices and expertise, supporting physicians. Well, inventory management is so critical because of the types of devices we're managing and moving around. They are Class 3 implantable devices. They are expensive and also have expiration date. And so expiration management has always been top priority for W.L. Gore to ensure patient safety. In addition, their devices can be recalled. So in the event of a recall, we have to know where each device is, each box. So and in the past, before Movemedical, everything was done on paper and phone calls, emails, and faxes. It was slow, it lagged behind, it was prone to error. And in 2018, we recognized that managing field inventory in a better way was a top priority for our organization. And that's when we found Movemedical. What I think is the most unique or valuable piece of Move is how you designed it around the case. It's a field inventory management solution that revolves around the case. We call that the heart of the system. I don't know if you all use that expression, but when we're training users, we call that the heart of the system. And it is managing cases. So I have to plan the whole case life cycle is what our field associates do every day. And so when we put the tool into their hands, they saw it as a tool for them, largely because of how the case information is collected and then inventory is managed around the case. Now you can do other things that are also daily activities of the field, ordering product, transferring product, returning product, and managing expiration are all core to the solution. But I think the home run was the case. And for so many of our associates, that case is the most important thing they do every day or every week. We don't issue edicts. Bill Gore knew that if you tell someone what to do, they may or may not follow. And so we're not an organization that has a lot of policies and hard rules or edicts. And so solutions like with software and business processes need to add value to be used. And again, the tool is really built for the field, and they knew that from the beginning. They saw the benefit and value it would bring to their daily life, improving efficiency, accuracy, having better records, meaning what did I order last week, what did I return last week. I can go look that information up. We have extremely high adoption rates of the solution. We have about 80% of the field using the tool every single day, and it's rare, and we're looking at these metrics, they're just overwhelmingly good. on how often the solution is used, how common it has become. And that's not through an edict or requirement of usage. It's because it's adding value to what they do every single day. And the folks that still, there's only one or two that aren't embracing the solution fully. And we like to talk to them directly. Again, within our culture, we have direct one-on-one communication with each other as associates to understand what's happening. And that's the approach we've taken for those users that, for one reason or another, have not adopted the tool. We want to hear from them because there might be something valuable that we need to introduce in a future release. It's so critical to create that environment on openness to hear what many people would perceive as criticism. Feedback sometimes feels like criticism. It's not criticism, it's feedback. And well, Gore is a feedback organization on our performance. And so maybe that was at the heart of it, but we absolutely wanted feedback from the field. We piloted the solution for a year, and that was all a period of feedback. In fact, the 50 individuals we selected, that was the expectation we set. We said, if you're gonna pilot the solution, you have to provide feedback. Otherwise, so we really just created that from the beginning. And we listened, and we made changes based on that feedback. Therefore, we gained their confidence. And to this day, now 3 years later, that feedback continues to come in, whether small, medium, and large sizes, new ideas, new concepts, and it's so fun, it's so gratifying to talk to someone in the field about what they're doing, ideas they have, and they know we take it serious. We log all of those suggestions into the Movemedical help system. I didn't mention that at all earlier, but the help system is a behind the scenes thing that not many people see. Move has a very good help system to track tickets or incidences, failures, knowledge, and future enhancements. And we use all of those capabilities to manage all of this feedback we're getting. Yeah, I often describe Move, and it's a transactional system. Meaning it's not really a reporting system. It's designed to do transactions, orders, returns, transfers, cases, etc. And all those things add value. Those are things that we do every day. So we use it every day. It's also collecting all this data about cases and orders and all these transactions. So the resulting data and analytics that can be created is really substantial. And as far as the case goes, the heart of the system, we've never had in the past metrics around the cases. And so that's a whole new data set. It's very rare that an organization gets the benefit of a new data set. Typically, there's data that we've had for years, and maybe we have some new reports about old data or existing data. But the case information was a brand new data set we've never had. And it's still illuminating itself, and new questions come to us every week about, hey, could we understand this, or do you have this? And it typically revolves around something in the case. The tool has really empowered the field to be more self-sufficient, being able to do these transactions that previously could only be done on the phone or on paper. Now I'm empowered to do what I need to do whenever I can do it. The field works 24/7, literally. They're always working. And so if I need to place an order in the middle of the night or on Saturday, now I can do that. So that's where a lot of the empowerment comes from. It's hard to make the connection of these improved efficiencies and time savings to increase selling time. It's hard to make that connection directly, but we know that's happening. We know that people are spending less time because they're not writing down on paper what they did in a given day. There is time given back to the field. We've quantified it in simple things like the amount of time it takes to place an order, using the solution versus calling in. We know it's less. So we know time is being saved. And I have to believe that that has resulted in increased selling time and, well, more accuracy too. Inventory accuracy is very, very important. And we know accuracy has gone way up with using Move. The Move organization, although small, is very powerful and very easy to work with. We really enjoy the interactions, the attentiveness. Aaron told a story about how we were able to deploy an emergency change within a week based on a product launch. That's really unique and remarkable for a software company to be able to do that. We're right now working on releasing what Move calls construct pricing. We call it case pricing, and it's an industry trend where a case will have a capitated price as compared to every device used is sold at the line cost. So now, 4 devices can have a single cost, a capitated price. So Move has a solution for this. This actually remains as a manual process to us today. It's one of the last pieces of manual processing that we have. And we now have seen the light of how Move handles this complex industry standard. We're going to deploy it in the next few months, and we are very excited. And the field is very excited too, because this will be, again, more efficiency, more accuracy, and more automation.
My name's Neil Ferguson. I'm the IT business partner and program lead for field inventory for BD and across the entire interventional segment. We're able to make the sales reps' life easier. So by taking a lot of things that would have been done by customer service or by a group that doesn't fully understand the sales team, we're able to bring them that extra step so that they're able to feel like they are fully accommodated and that their needs are being met. Right now, we didn't have clear data. We had significant amounts of scrap and of expired product just consistently going to waste from field inventory. And then in addition, we had a revenue lag problem where items were missing on a consignment scan, but we weren't fully aware of if they were getting reordered or not. And then finally, field inventory was being manually managed. So it was through trunk stock request emails, stock transfer forms that were on a PDF, and a variety of other pieces that just were not very clear to a sales rep, to a field inventory user, to anyone within the company. Where our field inventory program really took off was that we looked at the way that returns were being managed for the globe more broadly, and we said, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't work. So we started our own return center that was separate to be able to process inventory much more quickly. Meanwhile, the return center that was for the entire globe continued for weeks of lead time, and that lasted all the way until today. The things that we were looking for was the ability to scan more quickly, to have offline management, and then to be able to manage field inventory comprehensively within one solution. That was something that, for a sales rep, they're able to manage things in a way that makes sense to them. That's a very difficult app to develop. Sales reps have many tools and platforms available at their fingertips. They need something that is easy to go and take in and that they can start using quickly. We recognized that for the solution, we could just throw out technology, but we had seen that with analytics tools in Power BI, MicroStrategy, ClickView, and the difficulty for a rep in just, this is a new tool that does largely the same thing, why am I having to adopt a new tool? Even if it had great ways to be able to manage and to pivot and to do everything that you would want to do. Instead, it came back to, let's look at what a rep would want the process to be. Can we make that compliant? And then how do we shape the technology to do that? And that took a lot of time and a lot of effort because it required us going through different divisions, different business units, and asking, okay, how do you do this? And oftentimes, lesson learned from us, the leaders weren't aware, the managers weren't aware, the leads of their group weren't aware. You had to find the individual person, who oftentimes was very difficult to find, who manages the trunk stock request, who manages the transfer. And here's that one little tweak that I do for product exchanges that no one has ever heard of, no one understands, no one knows. Why was that implemented in the first place? Well, somebody told me to do that a long time ago that was important. And having to go through and answer all of those questions, I think it both provided buy-in from the ground up, from the in-office team, from the field inventory team. And then it also helped us to capture, well, what does compliance actually care about? What does legal actually care about? What does finance and sales care about? Did we create this rule just because something bad happened years ago that's never going to happen again? Or is it completely a misinterpretation of something that doesn't actually need to exist? And then getting all of those finalized and standardized across each division, each business unit, and then bringing in people to go and say, we're going to standardize the org structure so that these processes stay intact, so that you don't have, well, somebody said this one-off thing and now all of a sudden the entire process has been off for years and no one ever knew. That has been pushing a boulder up a hill. We chose Move for a variety of reasons, but I think that the simplest way to say it is there's not a clear competitor on the market. Who else do you go with? We did vendor scorecards, we did presentations, we looked into different things. I can talk about offline audits, I can talk about online transfers, I can talk about good experience of talking with Mario and the team and being able to work with them and feeling like our needs were being understood. But ultimately, you either have to develop a custom solution, which we had tried twice and failed, or at the very minimum, not succeeded. Or you look at some of the other clients that are out there that are trying to do this exact space, and they're too case focused. They're very much focused on a niche in the market that is not what we are. Or you go to Move. There's not really a second tier option. So you have three options really. You can make a custom solution, which we had tried twice and had not succeeded in meeting the sales rep's needs. You can go to one of the other competitors to Move, but having done a vendor scorecard on a variety of them, having looked at the large companies like Salesforce, the small companies, none of them are geared towards a case or a non-case management structure. And the most important piece is, for us, we need to be able to scan quickly. We need to be able to scan well. We need to be able to scan offline. We need the sales reps to feel like field inventory does not take time. And many of the other solutions require a significant amount of time when it comes to managing inventory, particularly when it comes to scanning. So then the third option is Move. And there's no one else on the market that is anywhere close. When a rep goes in and does a trunk stock scan right now, they open up their app, they do a scan, hopefully the scan goes well, and then they say finalize and sync. They wait several minutes oftentimes for that sync to happen. They're supposed to sync prior to, so that's another couple of minutes. Just sitting there watching the little thing twirl. Then it gets sent the next day to a team of field inventory coordinators who then take that data, create a pivot with it, work on trying to understand what was missing, what was an overage, etc. Are there lots that aren't quite lining up? Create that whole report, and then hopefully that same day, probably the next day, then send it off to the sales rep. who then has to answer for each of these different variances, and then goes back and forth with a field inventory user who's trying their best to figure out, the sales rep's not going to remember where he actually got this from. Let me actually do the research to try and dig into it. But that digging is going to take hours upon hours for multiple people now, for field inventory coordinators and for the sales rep, because they're trying to help the sales rep to feel responsible. The sales rep is like, this is not my job. My job is to go and sell. And so they're pushing back and trying to give it back to the field inventory user to try and say, help me to guess where it could be. And with Move, that process that I just described that will normally take days, if not weeks generally, is something that should generally take place in about an hour, with only one person needing to be involved, with just the sales rep being involved. And then if there's some approvals that are needed, then you get those approvals. But there's no send, wait, that is so laborious for everyone involved. What I'm excited for is that I feel like a sales rep will finally know what to do when it comes to their field inventory. That they won't need to have, and I've seen it all, an accordion file of here's all the stock transfers that I need to go and submit but that I haven't submitted yet. Or here's my notes app and I left this item with Dr. Joe, this item with Dr. Jane, and this item with this person, and I need to retrieve them or do this, or I need to go and file this consignment swap. That my hope for Movemedical is that it's so easy to do, I'll just do it now, because it's as easy to do as writing it in the notes app of my phone. I think that it's easy to focus on the surgeon as the customer, but frequently as a sales rep, it's the inventory clerk, or it's the scribe who lets you in, or the medical assistant, or the inventory manager that's down the hall. All of these people, the surgeon is the one who's going to be making the decision. These people help determine whether you get to see the surgeon. And if you're making their life easier, then that helps you to get to the surgeon and have more face time with them. The other piece that I would say is that it comes down to knowing what needs to be built and having it built when it needs to be built. That if I can know when I have consignment that a replacement for my expired unit is coming within a day or so, if I can know that I want consignment and as long as the contract's signed, we're good to go. If I can know that if I need trunk stock, it's showing up. That when I put in a request, I don't have to worry about another person. It's just going, it's there. That will go and help everyone within the customer-patient experience to feel like their needs are getting met better. My hope for Move is that we're solving the inventory problem that is currently facing all of healthcare, from the patient to the provider to the med device supplier to shipping it from the med device supplier, from the warehouse, from manufacturing within our broader supply chain. And if Move is able to go and connect that entire end-to-end supply chain years down the road, but you've now prevented back orders. You've prevented the doctor saying, I need this size, and it's not there on the shelf. You've prevented billing errors. You've prevented price discrepancies. You've prevented revenue lag. You've prevented scrapped products and products just expiring for no particular reason. You've prevented compliance risks and compliance concerns. You've prevented a whole host of issues that are necessary in order for us to significantly change healthcare.
My name's Pam Morgenstern. I'm the Vice President of Sales Operations at Integra Life Sciences. In sales operations, we handle everything from pricing and contracting through to CRM, inside sales, all of our consignment sales. So lots of things, and as it relates to Movemedical, everything inventory. So all of the inventory management, where all the products are, how those are being used for those consignment sales, and making sure that there's nothing that's standing in the way of us doing our jobs. Before Move, we had other software that was largely used by internal teams. So inventory management teams, back office, the salespeople would only get their information through reports. And of course, that always breaks down, right? So you have the inside teams building some reports in Excel that goes to a manager. Does it get to the rep? Is it timely? All of those kinds of things. And so we had a really big disconnect between the inventory that we had in the field, what we thought we did from a business perspective, and how it was literally moving and transacting in the marketplace. So the big game changer for Movemedical at that time was to make sure that we had a mobile application. So that was about 6 years ago. And, even if you all think of, yourself personally, right? Like, what are we doing with our cell phones today that we were not doing 6 years ago, right? Big change in terms of apps and how that's changed the way that we engage with the world. And so what's been wonderful is that Movemedical has continued to upgrade. We've got new versions. If there's a software bug, we get all of that quickly addressed. But it's really been for the salespeople having that transparency to the data and having it in their hand so that they can really make sure that our inventory management is very tight. We take it for granted sometimes that because we use our phones, it's always been that way. It hasn't always been that way. And so that piece has been a game changer. The dashboards that the reps use, the visual cues. So one of the enhancements that we ask for is I need things color coded so that people don't have to think twice. So the company has continued to innovate and evolve and make the application easier and easier for the reps to do their job. Inventory management is the core application. But the fact of the matter is that all of the inventory transactions are related to a surgical case. And so what we've been able to do with data is to really understand our marketplace better. So who's using our product? So namely, which surgeon. We love that you guys have the NPI, which is that unique identifier for a surgeon. That's a required field for us. So there's no question about who's using the product, what kind of procedures are they using the product on, sub-procedures. As much market data as we can get, that's very helpful for us. We also, it helps us to understand the dynamics of the market. So which hospitals or surgery centers are using more of our portfolio? Are they using across our portfolio? Are there certain geographic areas that are using more? Now you can get some of that, sort of removed from sales data, but the salespeople will tell you that it's all about the surgeon. And so a hospital might pay the bills, but they have to get a surgeon to use the product and to want to use the product to help their patients. And that's the data that's most informative for us. I guess it's no surprise that it has to be the customer success team. And they're just there. So they never complain. We need them. They're just not only responsive, but they understand that in our business, Integra is a company that has a real sense of urgency in making sure that we have product for a case because there's a patient there who needs that product. And they have that same sense of urgency when we have an issue, and they always come back to us. We also we've set up like regular, we call them steering team meetings, where we can get together and look at, hey, what's been going well? What do we need to do going forward? Is there a project that we're working on? But that kind of collaboration and ongoing improvement and continuous improvement, and as for Integra, having a voice at that table has been really very, very helpful. Our product, that's our asset that we bring to healthcare for surgeons to be able to take care of their patients. Knowing where that product is, getting it to the surgery on time, that's where Movemedical comes in. So I talked about the ease of use. So if a salesperson has a case on Friday and today's Wednesday, it's like I need to get it there. They don't have to call anybody else. They don't have to do anything. They can just enter that enter their phone, order the product that they need. They can specify where do I need it to be sent, what time, when do I need it there, right? And if we have to go the extra mile to get a courier service, we do that too. But it enables us to get all the information that our distribution centers need to be able to get that product to the surgeon so that there's just no slip-ups. Going forward, I think you folks have demonstrated, like that's the core part of the product for us, right? Is like all those transactions that have to happen, where is it, who's using it, all of that from an inventory management perspective. I really think where we're going next is how we take that data, and you folks have really started going more into the analytics side. So helping us to understand, where that usage is so that we can perhaps in the future be better positioned to have some kind of algorithm that says, all right, you should have more of your product positioned at this place so that because your chances of utilizing it there with these surgeons is high, right? So really taking, I think the next step is going to be using a lot of that data, using AI and those kind of algorithms to start anticipating where the product is going to be needed and how it's going to move. Movemedical is open to other ideas, like open to innovation. Really has been a great partner for us.